Hi, welcome to Spark Plug, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. This is the episode 6 of season 2. So thank you for so diligently listening and hopefully benefiting out of the episodes that we have been doing. And today for our episode, I have with me Avishek Singh. Welcome to the show, Avishek. I'd love to hear a few words about yourself.
So I have recently joined HighRadius like 3 months back and part of digital transformation team. I have an overall 16 years of experience and majorly goes into order to cash. Well, I have been associated with companies like EXL, Capgemini, Genpact, Accenture in the past. And in my most recent role, I was part of, O2C practice team where I was primarily responsible for building end-to-end order to cash solution for clients.
That's great. I'm so thrilled to have you today with us to understand the digital transformation blunders that CFO offices should avoid, right? And I'm sure this is going to help us also identify the right strategy that one should be taking for digital transformation. So on that note, Abhishek, according to an article by FTI Consulting, 70% of the companies that have digital transformation in place or are working on one, right? A lot of them, actually see these initiatives fail. So why do you think that happens?
Well, this is absolutely true. If you look at pre-pandemic or post-pandemic, or maybe go by the experts, what they say about the market, that, digital transformation remains as one of the key agenda for futuristic growth. However, they're still encountering barriers and hurdles. And surprisingly, it's not due to innovation or technological problems. Rather, it's about the adaptation process. If you ask my view, too many people treat digital transformation as something around infrastructure and IT. Well, it's not. It's about the company culture, it's about the DNA, and it's about the business model they're into. Broadly, if we look at top 3 or 4 reasons why digital transformation fails, primarily, if I have to rate number 1, would be unclear digital transformation goals. Well, before initiating any digital transformation initiative, it is important to identify the exact business goal, a strategic initiative that will help your organization to reach a new level of revenue or growth. Before they do so, let's kind of ask this open question. Do employees have a clear understanding of these goals? Are they aware of the future digital transformation process? If the answer is no, that could lead to failure. Because not defining clear goals means your organization will end up people going in a lot of different directions. There'll be alignment issues. Apparently, the purpose would fail. Second of the reason would be lack of management engagement. The CXO level, they have to kind of drive the transformation. They need to be behind the transformation. They need to set the tone. They need to model the behaviors for transformation. And they need to operationalize the behavior. For example, if the message is not rightly conveyed or cascaded to the bottom line, if the people do not feel part of that transformation initiative and do not know the role they are playing, that's where we fail. So it is management's role to kind of have a collaborative approach, and the communications should be very transparent. What initiative we are driving, what is the end result we are envisioning. That is important. If I have to call out the third reason, it is a negligence towards the digital culture. Effective change management can identify who are the people or who are the segments who are very resistant to change. So it's very imperative that we provide the right amount of education and training to those folks and convert those folks into digital transformation champions who later would drive the whole initiative. The biggest example would be the COVID. The lockdowns caused by the COVID-19 pandemic completely paralyzed and collapsed the offline processes. We have seen that, we have evidenced it. It is clear that being in digital space is a reasonable requirement in this modern era. So I think we have to be open to any kind of change that is coming our way, be it technological or maybe some from policy standpoint. Mm-hmm. Last but not the least, I think lack of expertise. Let's say this, the company that is going through digital transformation does not necessarily have to be experienced. There's no need to be pro or an expert in new technologies or strategies. But to make the digital transformation process successful, companies without any expertise had to seek, external, guidance or some sort of, help. That's where we come into play. Being a solution provider, we have certain elements which can, give them the right direction towards the transformation agenda they might have. While the co-workers or the, bottom line continues doing what they are doing, we as partners, what we can do is we can help them in prioritizing the initiatives that will have the greatest impact, number one. Number two, bringing in the objectivity. Third, avoiding delays and failures. So it has to work in tandems.
Absolutely. So, you kind of also, talked about how the CXOs need to be very clearly involved in understanding the vital aspects of how the company should be approaching their digital transformation, right, to get the strategy right. So from all the aspects that are there, right, so there is a customer aspect, there's a user aspect, there's a business aspect. Why is it important for mid-market CFO offices to view digital transformation from all of these aspects so that you don't end up failing?
Absolutely agree with you. See, it is important to look at it from all the aspects. Mm-hmm. Why? From the user perspective? Because see, when we do any transformation, the intent is very clear. This would enable to understand the individual productivity. Mm-hmm. We are not there to scrutinize or kind of monitor your employees, but rather to identify inefficient processes and to improve them. That's the intent when it comes to user perspective. When we talk about customer, we talk about customer experience. So what is the goal? A primary goal of digital transformation or moving to any kind of advanced technologies is to ensure that customers are satisfied. That's the end goal. We agree. There's a need to look at customer facing sub processes like collections. Mm-hmm. Collection is the only customer facing process within AR module. Mm-hmm. So we need to kind of look at tailor-made solutions that can be done for specific customers. For example, if a customer is seeking invoice copies and statements along with, every time a collector interacts with the accounts payable team, he's looking for invoice copies along with the statement. So why not set the rule in the tool itself and set the frequency? The package goes automatically. It would lead to customer experience and they'll be satisfied in the end because they get what they want and you get the payment on time. From business standpoint, I guess this is to provide the understanding of the end business results of the digital transformation, such as whether we are making the right improvement on the DSO, whether we are decreasing the bad debt for the company, and our cash flow is increasing. That's the end result a CXO would be interested in. So that will help them kind of look at the gray areas and take the appropriate action when it is needed.
And if I talk about, at HighRadius, we deliver real business results with, technology. So how do we do it? What are the key areas that we support mid-market businesses with?
Well, before we talk about HighRadius, we have to understand what is the element artificial intelligence brings in. Mm-hmm. Well, this actually captures certain information which a human cannot do. Or maybe can do, but without accuracy. All right. So AI can basically essentially help identify the gaps, measuring the expenses, or maybe making the forecast based on the numbers which is available in the ERP to further optimize the entire business process. So in the CFO technology space, if you talk about HighRadius is leading the way with the AI platform with numerous AI predictions that we are doing, and we have use cases for that. What kind of predictions we are doing? So number one, invoice payment date prediction. Based on the payments behavior, it can predict the next payment date. Second, blocked order prediction, which I've seldom seen in other solutions that whether they have this functionality or not. We also have Freda, virtual assistant, which is enabled by natural language processing. So these are the key elements which can bring in some sort of technological advancement in your current process, and this will help you take the right action when it comes to looking at those gray areas of where we need to focus on. It can help you do that. When it comes to analytics basically gives you some sort of synopsis around multiple reportings that it can be done. For HighRadius, there are n number of modules available like cash, credit, collections and billing. In such cases, also deductions. In such cases, when we talk about modules, each module comes along with some sort of analytical reporting. So these reporting basically can be sliced and diced as per the need. It can be, there is a schedule that can be set for the different layers. It is access based. So for example, if an agent is looking for some sort of customer level prioritization report, or some sort of collection efficiency report, some sort of payment history report, they can extract that. From management perspective, mid management perspective, they're looking at the operational data, for example, the KPIs or the key indicators. They can extract the information and they can schedule a report. For bigger levels like CXOs and the higher authorities, they can always go for the bigger metrics like DSO, current percentage in the ARs. They can extract that information and it is readily available. They can set the frequency. It's a live data they can see. So that's where the reports and dashboards are very critical for all the employee base for any organization.
And so let's say if different times in point we get customers who do not have their necessities in place. For example, data, right? There is a possibility that we have certain customers who do not have their data sorted out. Now, in cases like these, how does HighRadius help them?
So I think my recommendation in such case would be to have a consolidated data repository before you go ahead with the implementation. So irrespective you go with HighRadius or any big tool or any technological advancements, it is imperative that you should have the right data, the critical data coming your way, and the source should be uniform. If I'm hunting down the data, say for example on your ERP, on your third-party tool, on your mobile devices, so it makes the whole process little ineffective. Mm-hmm. So it's important to have your data standardized. Mm-hmm. Before you jump onto any AR solutions. That's my advice.
Absolutely. Now that we have data sorted out, I think the next important step would be to map current processes and identify the actual process needs. Right? If somebody doesn't do it, first question for you is then how will it complicate the expected results from the process being transformed?
So we'll have to kind of understand that the data is the source of truth. Okay. Yeah. And everything and anything, all the transaction has to go through the ERP. So if the data is consistent, the data is accurate, mapping the whole activity, mapping the tool would not be a challenge. Mm-hmm. Okay. We need to be kind of, very sure that, look, the data that I'm looking at, because basis that, all the end reporting would happen across all the levels. And whosoever is looking at the data, there has to be an authentication check. They should validate that the data is correct, absolutely correct. It makes sense, and it allows us to take the right decision when it comes to, looking at any aspect of business.
And while a company transforms their finance function, there's also a bit of course correction that you may have to do with your vendor, which makes choosing the right vendor very important. So why is it actually important to maybe see and check for scope for course correction?
Well, firstly, if you talk about the current state, there are companies who are still running their business on the legacy system with very basic one bot or two bots automation, and they are happy about it. Mm-hmm. Although they're not competing with the market, who are extremely high when it comes to certain advancements. Now, when it comes to real-time ecosystem that we have, which is inclusive of RPA, AI, and machine learning, okay, CFOs cannot afford to ignore the need of digital finance transformation. There is a mad race of integrated solutions in the market, and handpicking the appropriate one is a challenge. I'll give you an instance. I have come across a customer who had gone for a low-cost service provider, okay, for an AR tool, and apparently he had to invest heavy cost for the customization add-ons that he wanted on the tool. Okay, so this is very important that they hunt the tool, hunt the right technology wisely. That is one. Secondly, we also, like we talked about data. See, data analysis would help the CFOs extract helpful information from the data itself. And when I talk about HighRadius, we are extremely capable of depicting that data in a different shape and form. Maybe in the form of reporting, maybe in the form of KPIs that you are measured on. That can be done through our real-time data visualization and AI-supported analytics that we have in place.
So I think those primarily were my questions for you, Abhishek. But before we part our ways, right, I wanted to understand that let's say if tomorrow one of our team members they get a question asked on lines of why a CFO should pick HighRadius as their vendor partner, right, to ensure that we are their right partners on their journey to digital transformation, then what would you recommend them to answer?
Well, I would say in that case, when a CFO does the hunting or raises an RFI, looks at other demos of different various companies, they should also look at the testimonials that we have in place, the count of customer base that we have created in past few years, the success rate that we have got. Okay, so these are the things which are already available on our website. Beyond that, when you look at the the whole solution that we provide, starting from credit to deduction management, every module has some or the other differentiator which is unique in our case. For example, if we talk about certain predictability features, we are extremely unique when it comes to block donor management. Mm-hmm. If we talk about collections, for that matter, collections, I understand that every company has the facility of sending the dunning letters and some sort of customer segmentation can be done. However, the enough facility that we have, which is a very unique feature that we are providing, which is AI based. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, if you look at all these sub processes, either or maybe there is a very significant thing which is actually making HighRadius stand out, and which CFOs need to understand, because in today's world, every day the functionality would change, the features would change, but we are running ahead of the game compared to other vendors, and hence we are in a process of creating differentiators when it comes to certain discussions that we are doing with the customers. We are highlighting the aspects where we are different to other vendors. So that's what differentiates us from various, service providers.
Thank you so much, Abhishek. This was very, very helpful. I'm sure that everybody who listens to this video is going to benefit a bunch.